Alright, Maurice, I'm not gonna let you down. You know what I'm doing? I'm writing down my cues. That way I can come in at the right times and sing the songs to the best of my abilities. Wow! Whoa! Whoa! Wow! Wow! Whoa! Whoa! Wow! Dun 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 dun. Love is the answer.
Lords of Acid's Make Acid Great Again tour came to Charlotte, North Carolina in May 2024. I'd been talking to Gigi online for a while, and she wanted to meet me at the show. She fed me pasta. The show itself was a fun time, and the after party on the tour bus made it a night to remember. Afterwards, I felt the itch to go see them a second time, so I looked for cheap flights and picked Minneapolis, Minnesota. Among the adventures for the day, I was tasked with retrieving a lost blow-up doll, I accompanied many smoke breaks, I played Mortal Kombat with Trudy backstage, and then I hung out on the bus until 4:30 in the morning. I guess I just couldn't get enough of being picked from the audience and flogged on stage when they played Spank My Booty. Lords of Acid awoke something dark in me. When you've partied with Lords of Acid twice in a month, life seems pretty boring after that. So I had an even crazier idea. Why don't I go see them a third time? This third trip was only a pipe dream until I'd sent Gigi the YouTube video I made about the Minneapolis show. She showed the band on the tour bus TV, and I was told they all enjoyed it. Oliver also enjoyed the video I did on the Charlotte show. So Gigi floated the idea of me going to see them on the last day of the tour, which was in Los Angeles, California. I was told I could crash in her and Trudy's hotel room after the show. "You can interview me," she said. I suggested maybe also interviewing Praga while I was at it. Then when she told everyone I was coming, Oliver said, "He should interview me too!" I'd never interviewed a band in person in that type of setting, so challenge accepted. Friends told me tips and tricks about interviewing, and I watched YouTube videos that could prepare me even more for the job. I did my research, came up with great questions, and as a friend suggested I do, I psyched myself up. I told myself I'm the right man for the job, over and over. My flight out of Greensboro, North Carolina landed in Los Angeles on June 6th. The show was on the 7th. I visited a few graves and practiced for the interview before resting up. Lightning struck twice for me with Lords of Acid, and I predicted this third strike would be deadly. With the Terragram Ballroom in walking distance, I just walked around for a while after checking out of the hotel. The tour bus pulled up after 1. By that point, the last I'd heard from Gigi was when I texted her the day before, letting her know that I arrived in Los Angeles. While I was loitering on the street of the venue, Anya was walking to the convenience store. We said hello to each other, but she looked strangely nervous. Then I saw Steve, the bus driver. He told me that Gigi wasn't around. When Anya came back, she said the same thing. Gigi left after the show in San Francisco the night before. As the night in Los Angeles went along, she posted on social media that she was flying back to Belgium. I couldn't reach her for a few hours. It isn't my place to tell the band's business, so I won't go into detail on the situation. But when Steve and Enya told me what they told me, I felt like a piano dropped on me. The biggest thing this meant was that Lords of Acid were without a singer for the night. They'd done shows without a singer before, and they made it work. Whether that was by combining the Lords of Acid set with Praga Khan songs, or by calling fill-in singers. However, what came to my mind immediately was when I was told I could crash in Gigi and Trudy's hotel room after the show. Now Gigi wasn't there. I wasn't sure if anyone else in the band was aware of this arrangement, but the thought that came to my head was, oh shit, I might not have a place to sleep tonight. Secondarily, with things being the way they were, there was no way the interview was going to happen. Not now. And I wasn't going to press anybody about it. The time just wasn't right. With the hammer of this news being dropped on me, I waited a while before approaching the tour bus and making my presence known. The band knew to expect me, but I worried about potentially walking into a war zone, and I didn't want to be anywhere I wasn't welcome. Some time had passed, and I thought, okay, regardless of how this turns out, I should go talk to Trudy and figure out where I'm sleeping tonight.
So, I walked nervously to the bus. The door was open, and Oliver was sitting on the steps smoking a cigarette and talking to his wife, Petra. We greeted each other, and he was as calm and polite as ever. He told me what happened with Gigi, and he said, "Oh, it is what it is." Suddenly, his calm rubbed off on me, and I felt better about being there.
I explained the situation with the hotel room and asked if Trudy was around. He took me inside and into the green room. Trudy was on the couch, sick and shivering. Uh-oh. A few minutes later, I bumped into Maurice, or Praga, as the public would know him. He told me he was going to be singing several songs that night. But it was weird for him because a lot of Lords of Acid songs were written from the female perspective. So he said it was weird for him to be singing stuff like, "I wanna bet your pussy ain't as pretty as mine." Also, he had to write down the lyrics for the songs he was going to sing, because even though he wrote them, he didn't remember all of them off the top of his head. That was a job for whoever was singing for Lords of Acid while he focused on the keys. These pages of lyrics would be at Praga's feet so he could look at them during the Lords of Acid set. The rest of the band would shuffle in and out. They remembered me from the other shows and seemed happy to have me there. Galen told me I was more than welcome to hang out with them. During soundcheck, I got to hear a few songs with Praga singing that he didn't typically sing. It was jarring after years of listening to the songs with women singing them, but it was a unique change that I was welcome to hearing. The set list had to be altered, so songs like Lover and You Belong to Me were axed. Many years ago, I got to see Suffocation play, and the bass player was in the hospital. The second guitar player, halfway through, his amp blew, and so they came back a few minutes later and they said, "Listen, we can either stop the show here, or we can continue the set as a three-piece, just a lead singer, guitarist, drummer." And the audience wanted to hear the three-piece version of Suffocation. I'll say this, as an audience member, I didn't hear one flubbed note. My respect for that band flew through the roof that night, and my respect for Lords of Acid tonight, I think the same thing's gonna happen. Meanwhile, the band was calling any singers they knew who could come to the show and sing a couple songs each. Praga and I were sitting in the green room, and half-jokingly I said, "If you can use my services, I know the songs and I'm willing to go out there in a G-string." On the tour bus in Charlotte, Pink Floyd was played. The Great Gig in the Sky was played over and over and over that night. I sang The Great Gig in the Sky for a few seconds, and it impressed Praga and Gigi that I could hit the high notes. I reminded Praga of this, and he got to hear me sing it again for a few seconds. Then he asked me, "Can you do Take Control?" Without warming up, I sung Take Control for him. Now Enya was next to us, and they wanted to hear me sing Rough Sex. I was still seated in the chair, and I sang the Woes for them. Then Praga said, "Okay, you're singing for us tonight." Enya wanted to do my makeup for the show. To spice things up even more, she wanted me to wear her dress that she was wearing for Praga Concept. Thank you.
Okay. And when you're on stage, you must do this out.
Okay.
But you don't have this on stage.
So I have to take this off when I go on stage?
When you go on stage, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Among the people they called to sing for them, there was Gina from Little Miss Nasty, Susan Starr, who was a drag and burlesque performer from Las Vegas, Devora from the opening band of the night, and a few others. A revolving cast of characters for this exclusive last show of the tour. It was exciting for me because at 28 years old, I'd never gotten to sing live in front of an audience before. Not even karaoke. This wasn't a school band concert where I was playing the trumpet, nor was it a guitar recital. I was going to be performing in front of hundreds of people in one of America's biggest cities. With one of my favorite bands, no less.
There was one performance, I did crowd surfing. It was really amazing to have that feeling, to be carried by all the people, you know. It was amazing to have that experience. That was, and you know, but I enjoyed every show, you know, being as a puppy on stage and doing my thing as Puppy Nino, you know, and the caressing and I'm putting away, you know. It's such a it's a love song about cheating and taking care of each other. It was really with my heart, you know, doing everything.
And I'm sure it's been empowering for you to be on this tour as well.
Yeah, indeed. It's so lovely, you know, that I could come along.
But there was another problem. They didn't have a blow-up doll to toss around for when they played Rubber Doll. I told the band I'd go out and try to find one, as well as a flogger if the store had any cheap ones. Dietrich wanted me to find an inflatable sheep for him while I was at it. I told him I'd see what I could do. Just like in Minneapolis, I was tasked with finding Sex Bomb Annie for a Lords of Acid show. Alright, who's ready for Lords of Acid? Fuck yeah, final day of the tour.
Fuck the rest.
Oh yeah, praise the Lords, baby. I went to 2 stores that sold sex toys. Neither had inflatable dolls. Then I called another store, which told me they didn't have any. So I called my friend Megan. I told her I'd pay her back if she managed to bring any of the sought-after items to the show. Meanwhile, Dietrich and Galen got on a live stream on Facebook saying that whoever could bring a doll to the show would get on the guest list. Lo and behold, Megan brought a doll and a flogger. No luck on the sheep. Oh yeah, feel it up. Feels pretty good, doesn't it?
That was very naughty.
Anya, check it out. The doll. Someone else brought another doll.
I always tell people that we largely run into 2 different kinds of fans. The fans that were there in the 90s that actually went to the shows and then they're like coming back out for the new show, or we ran into people who were too young to go to the show in the 90s and now they're coming out to see us for the very first time. So I feel like what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture that spirit from the 90s. It's that's what we're shooting for every night, that kind of vibe.
Well, a lot of old school fans seem to be pretty happy with the performances for this tour.
It's been fun. I can't. There's been a lot of. It's been a good on stage. Everything just gets purged right there, and we just keep on moving forward.
Yep, just let it all out.
I think so. Yeah.
See, and I fall into the category of that latter part. I'm only 28, so I wasn't alive back in the band's heyday. So I'm
late 90s. Yeah, you were. Yeah. I don't know what year Lust came out, but
91.
Was it really? Okay. Yeah. No, I grabbed. I know I had that CD. I definitely remember used CD shops and stuff. I grabbed one back then. I think that's perfect.
I had to prepare myself for the show. On the back of 2 note cards I was going to use for the interview, I wrote out times I was supposed to come in during the songs. I knew the songs, of course, but since this was my first time singing on stage, I wanted to make sure I did them right. Especially since this was Lords of Acid. This was a band that I'd loved and respected for a long time.
And after 3 or 4 records we made, it was already bang. I mean, in '92 we were already in the top 20 in the UK. So yeah, that's actually how we met.
And so many different projects too.
Yeah, because we were like a factory. We just like made every week. We made a new song, and we had to. Yeah, you couldn't do it in one. Under one name, because like who brings out every week a single? Like nobody does it. So we had so many different names, and yeah, that's how it all began and how it came out. And here's where we are now.
And hey, having stuff under different project names, that means more creative freedom, less expectations for people.
Yeah, for sure. That's also like because we know with this project we can go like in this style and we can do this thing. With that we go more that. So yeah, so you're wide open, and I'm wide open in music. I like all genres. I can listen to every genre. In every genre you have good music, and in every genre you have bad music.
The green room had these fake candles on the table that looked real. At some point, Praga knelt down at the table to try to light a cigarette with the candles, not realizing they weren't real. We all laughed our asses off.
Alright, so tell us who you are.
My name is Susan Starr, better known as the succubus of Sin City and the fallen one of the City of Angels.
Alright, so what songs are you singing?
The Most Wonderful Girl, of course.
Oh, lovely. Because are you fucking beautiful?
I'm fucking beautiful, I'm gorgeous, I'm sexy, I'm wonderful.
Kick some ass out there, man.
Yeah!
PragaCon's set was tight. This time, Oliver wasn't the only drummer. Galen was drumming, so they had 2 drummers on stage. Someone in the audience got injured, and they had to stop playing for a minute. It seemed like a lot of things were going wrong for this show, but everyone was making the best of the situation.
Because the last time that we were on tour in the States, me and Oliver, was back in 2000. I won. I was also Terragram and lots of assets.
The PGclean set ended, and then Enya gave me her dress to wear.
Today took a rather unexpected turn.
Suddenly, I was reminded of the time AC/DC appeared on TV and Bon Scott dressed like a woman.
I'll do a twirl for you.
How's that?
You have done this to me. Are you proud of yourself? Hey, look what she did to me. Do I look beautiful?
I'll train on the walk.
Let's call it love.
I've been around.
Can't cross it in one day.
Last time. I gotta get one more.
Kick some ass.
Lords of Acid started playing, and everyone who was slated to sing were all standing around waiting for their turn. Naturally, the band was nervous earlier in the day about how the show was going to go. But here it was. Nervous or not, the show must go on. It was a shorter set because a couple songs had to be cut. But with the anticipation, it seemed like the show was happening at a fast pace. Enya pulled me aside, and I was shown how to turn on the microphone and who to give it to after I was finished. I would start singing Rough Sex after Praise the Lords. In the hours of me practicing, I didn't even care about the interview anymore. But one thing from practicing for the interview carried over into my warming up to go on stage. I kept saying to myself, I'm the right man for the job.
Okay.
Praise the Lords ended, and now Rough Sex was beginning.
Now it's time for the love song.
Okay. Turn it on for me. Thank you. Here I go. Alright, keep it focused.
I just walked onto the stage. I wasn't even nervous.
Love.
My voice boomed when I came in after the initial
Love is the answer. Are you more of a fan?
My note cards were set in front of the monitor. For Rough Sex, I remembered everywhere I was supposed to come in. Besides, they were playing shortened versions of both Rough Sex and Take Control. Take Control started, and at first I wanted to look at my note cards to remember how many measures to count for each section I was supposed to sing. Then another idea hit me. Why not just have Praga cue me in? So I yelled for him to cue me in. When it was time, he raised his hand and then pointed at me. This was also helpful because I could focus on my breath, I could focus on dancing, and I didn't have to mentally count the number of measures before I had to start singing again. He would keep cueing me in through the song. It was interesting watching the other singers front Lords of Acid for the brief time they got to. We all did the best we could. I may have been out of breath for a couple notes, and my hair got caught in my mouth for the last chorus of Take Control. Keep in mind, we didn't have a lot of time to practice the songs beforehand. I suppose I got 2 easier songs than the other singers because I didn't have to remember verses. Also, the mic was cutting out early in the set. So was the show a mess? Objectively, yes. But it was a fun mess. That's the MO with Lords of Acid. Fun. It's camp, it's playful, it's tongue-in-cheek, and the synth programming is often complex. In the case of the show in Los Angeles, the spontaneity of it made it different from the other times I'd seen them up to that point.
Hey.
Fuck yeah, man! Fuck yeah! Oliver, I gotta shake your hand.
You were great!
Thank you.
You were great!
Thank you so much.
You did it, man! You were on the stage with lots of acid! You sung songs!
Hey, I told you it was gonna work out tonight.
After the show, people walked up to me and complimented my performance. Oliver and Praga showered me with compliments and hugs throughout the night. Praga especially liked that I asked him to cue me in. At one point I said, "Hey, since I have you in a good mood, Gigi told me I could crash in her hotel room. She's not here now. Would it be okay if I crash on the couch in the front lounge of the tour bus?" He said, "Please, come on." Later, when she saw the footage of me singing, even Gigi said she was proud of me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
When everyone went to the tour bus, we all stayed up and talked until 5 in the morning. Some of the band said their goodbyes and left. It was the end of the tour after all. We talked music, touring, and the singers they've had over the years, among other things. Praga said that the show was the hardest show he had ever had to do, and he'd been playing live for decades. But the show was over, and so was the tour. He sang a little bit of Rolling Stones, "It's All Over Now." Once again, Pink Floyd was played. Praga and I sang "Wish You Were Here" as a duet. Praga kept saying over and over again that he wanted to work with me, to which I responded with, "Whatever it is, yes, you have my answer now." Around 5, everyone started turning in for the night. Praga asked if I wanted a pillow. Yes, please. Then he asked if I wanted a blanket. He proceeded to tuck me in so I wouldn't get cold. I slept for a short amount of time. Dietrich and the road manager, Jared, were packing up and leaving.
Yeah, so yesterday was quite the day, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
But hey, everybody made it work. It was a team effort, you know?
Yeah, it was so great. I mean, Gina, the other singer, I mean, it was unbelievable. We still did it. We just made it. It was just like improvisation on the moment.
Oliver asked if I wanted his shoes. I asked him what size they were, thinking he was giving them to me to wear. He said, "I got these for the tour and now they're coming apart. I'd throw them away, but I'll give them to you if you want them."
Last night was...
Around 11:45 was the last bus ride of the tour. Praga, Inya, Trudy, Oliver, Petra, and myself were taken to the hotel near the airport. Said hotel wouldn't let them check in until 3, and their flight was around 7. So instead of dropping off luggage and going exploring, we all just went to the airport. I was the only one with good phone signal, so I called the rides for us all. The airport wouldn't let them check in until around 3:30, so I hung out in the lobby with them until it was time for them to check in. Eventually, we all said our bittersweet goodbyes, and then I went to my terminal to check in for my 10:30 flight. As I walked around and sat in the airport, I called a friend and told her everything that happened. I looked at the videos and pictures I got over the trip, reminding myself that I wasn't dreaming. I was an acid queen. When I started listening to Lords of Acid, never did I imagine I would eventually sing for them, even if it were just for 2 songs. Lords of Acid gave me more than I could have ever dreamed of asking for.